Hi, this is Katie Weeks, your independent, close to my heart maker, and today I am joining in with the other Makers with Heart for another mystery envelope challenge. And this one was sent to us by Lori Kutsch, and she sent us a little envelope with a Slimline card and instructions that said there's only a couple rules. You have to use white daisy cardstock and some sort of inking technique. And here you can see the items that she sent. The paper was from As You Grow, and we have some Harbour cardstock and a little piece of the zip strip that was in there as well. And I decided that I'm going to do an inking technique with an embossing folder. So the embossing folder that is in our current core catalog for July of 2022 is the Botanical embossing folder, and this one won't be around for much longer, so you might want to grab it if you do not have it yet. And I used my sage ink and a retired Belle ink to emboss one of the sides of the embossing folder and put my white daisy cardstock inside it, and I sent it through my close to my heart embossing and die cutting machine and set it on emboss setting on the left. And I really liked the impression that it brought in. Now, it's probably hard for you to see the sage ink. It is subtle, but it is pretty. But it was on the parts that embossed down into my white daisy cardstock. And then you can see the little pieces that I cut down for the Harbour cardstock and the As You Grow Mulberry printed paper, and I just used those at the top and bottom for layers around this embossed panel. And this embossed panel gave such a subtle, soft look. I just loved the feel of it. So I used my little photo trimmer and I just lined up my stuff on those measuring lines for the ruler that was on there, and it made it an easy way to make sure I had the same amount showing for the mulberry for each end. Then I came in with my stitched square frames, and I decided to cut a piece of paper from Backyard Bliss paper pack. It has a grass print, and I cut some of my Harbour cardstock that Lori sent us. We were allowed to bring in 2 additional sheets of paper if we used all of those sparkles that she sent in the little kit. So I also pulled in paper from the Textures paper pack, and that As You Grow paper and Textures paper pack, those are also ones that will not be with us for much longer. So if you want to grab those, make sure you go over to my website, kati.ctmh.com, and snag those before they are gone for good. So here I'm just working with figuring out how I wanted to layer all of those items on my card. Originally, I thought I was going to use the frame for that grass print, and then I decided I need the inside of that frame, and I was going to put it on the inside of the card. It just did not fit well enough on the front of the card, and I wanted that embossed inking technique to still show on the front of the card. So I layered these up, and I cut a piece of that textured paper to fit in the middle for the inside of the card as well, because I didn't want a stitched frame or anything cut out of it. I just needed a plain square for the inside. And I folded that little bit of zip strip, and I think I'm just going to attach that to one of the layers once I'm ready to put everything down. Okay, so here you can see this little stamp set that layers up so beautifully. It is called All Kinds of Wonderful, and I used it on my mini Misti. It was an easy way to line up, and I'm sorry that this went off the frame a little bit, but I have my little squares lined up to the left and right corner so I can stamp both of them at the same time. And I think the first ink that I did was probably the Mulberry, and then for the inside of my card, that one actually has 3 colors. So I stamped another part for the inside that said "You Are," and that was in the Sage ink. And then the last part that layers on both of them was stamped in the Harbour ink. And the wonderful thing about the Misti is when I didn't get quite a good enough clear image, I was able to ink it up again and go back in and apply more ink and line it up perfectly in this mini Misti. And you can see that's what I'm doing here. Is I like my dark colors like Harbour. I like it to be like very solid. So I was able to stamp it and then ink it up again and stamp it again. So while I'm finishing this up, I will tell you that all 7 of the Makers with Heart will be posting up videos today using this exact same envelope of goodies that Lori sent to all of us. So make sure you check out the playlist and all of the things that the other makers created as well. This is always an exciting challenge to see what everybody can create. Okay, and here you'll see that little zip strip. This is something fun that I like to do. I just added it as a little tab to that frame, and it just gives it a little something extra. And then for the sentiment that says "For You," I came back with some 3D foam tape, or maybe it was some pieces that were left from a shaker card or something. I put some 3D foam tape on the back of that so that it was elevated and popped up from the middle of that frame to give a little dimension to the front of the card. And then on the inside of the card, it says "You Are All Kinds of Awesome." And I just love how these stamps layered together, and you could put different colors for different parts, and that heart just was perfect inside the O for the word "you" when it said "For You" on the front. It's just so fun. I just love how that worked. Okay, and then after I finished up all of this, I had 5 little silver glitter gems, and in order to use those 2 extra papers, I had to use every single one of those. So I put 3 on the outside, and I decided to add the other 2 to the inside on the sides of the sentiment. And there you can see my very subtle inking technique that was on the front of this embossed card. And I hope you enjoyed it. Lori, thank you for a fun envelope that we could do for this July 2022 Mystery Envelope Challenge with the Makers with Heart. If you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate you giving me a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you know when I upload more crafty videos, and turn on the bell for all the notifications. Feel free to leave a sweet comment and to share this with your crafty friends.